that we've said that Mishnah is very often halachic poetry, and the remainder of the 7th chapter of Nedarim is actually set up in a poetic structure with pairs of matching Mishnayot. So we're going to learn these 2 by 2, going steadily through, 2 by 2, each pair, each little piece of poetry by itself. And, we're jumping off. We're still focused on the question of the meaning of words. And, words mean something in the context in which they're given and also in the society in which they're given. So, we learned that, someone who's carrying wool says, "Oh, I swear I'll never cover myself with wool," that's completely different from someone who's talking about wearing the wool. And now we're going to get into real estate. We're going to get into property, and we're going to again focus on meaning and what people mean by words. Someone who forswears the use of a house, someone who says, "I won't go into this house." Mutar ba'aliyah, they can still go into the upper story. Now, this might be the roof terrace, by the way. This might be the roof terrace, or it might be a room just below the roof terrace. And in the time of the Mishnah, you would have a flat roof on your house, and you'd go up. If you wanted space, you'd go up. And we learned in the Mishnah of probably in the Mishnah of Truma, we learned about going up there to spread your produce out to dry. And then what happened if I think in Mishnah Shabbat, we learn what happens if it starts raining and you need to move this produce. So we know that there's this zone above the house, which is not quite part of the house. You might use it for drying your fruit. You might go up there maybe if you wanted to escape, get cooler or get hotter. But Rabbi Meir says, anyway, the aliyah, the upper part of the house, is part of the house. So if you swore not to benefit from the house, you can't benefit from the upper story, from the aliyah. And the sages say, no. The upper story is included in house. So if you forswear the house, you've forsworn the whole thing, including the upper story. So Rabbi Meir says the upper story is separate. And the sages say the upper story is included. But where they agree is that it doesn't work in reverse. Even if upper story is included, it's a subset of house. So, hanoder mina aliyah mutar babayit. Someone who swears not to use the upper story, they can use the rest of the house, because the upper story certainly doesn't include house. House might include attic, but attic does not include house. Let's just go on to furniture. This is the parallel Mishnah. So we're going to, same structure. It's a statement, it's the Rabbi Meir, it's the Chachamim, and it's a closing motif. Hanoder min hamita mutar badargesh. Someone who forswears the use of a bed is permitted a dargesh. Divrei Rabbi Meir, according to Rabbi Meir. Same as above. But the sages say, no. A dargesh is included in bed, just like the attic is included in house. So you can't use the dargesh. But we're all agreed it doesn't work in reverse. Someone who forswears the use of a dargesh is certainly permitted the use of a bed. A dargesh might be included in bed, but bed is certainly not included in dargesh. Now, at this point, you're going to be asking, well, what is this dargesh? And the answer is, we don't really know what a dargesh is. I mean, there's a clue, by the way. The word dargesh, it's got 4 letters. It's a 4-letter root, and it goes a-eh. Where have we seen this before? For example, pardes. Sounds like pardes. Sounds like a Persian word. And sure enough, Klein tells us in dargesh, in post-biblical Hebrews, means a couch. And he says it's a Persian loanword. It's a Persian word. And of course, there's going to be plenty of Persian words in the Mishnah, because the Persians conquered the Babylonians. So when Ezra and Nehemiah come back to the land of Israel from Bavel, they are coming back. They're not coming back from Babylonia. They're coming back from Persia. The Persians are ruling. And the Persians actually adopt Aramaic and square script. The script we use today in Hebrew basically comes from the Persians' adoption of Aramaic. Persian is big in the time of the Mishnah. So it's not surprising that they can talk about a Daragesh. It might be a Persian loanword. But we still don't really understand what it is. And different options are offered by the sages. The clearest one is in the Rambam, and he tells us in his commentary, Dargash mita ktana not nenota lifnei mita gdola shenikret mita. So a dargash, it's a small bed that you put in front of a big bed, which is called a mita. Big bed is called a mita. I think we all agree that. And then he says, it's kmo sulam, it's like a ladder. It's like the ladder you climb up to the big bed. So now we sort of understand the context of this idea that Daragesh might be included in bed, because it seems to be the kind of the couch that you'd walk on to get into bed, but it's clearly not a bed in itself. It's not a bed in itself, and that's why Hanoder mina Daragesh mutar b'mita. Someone who forswears a Daragesh is still permitted the use of a bed. And then we're going to close this we have a little bit of a coda that is, at least it's out of sequence, I think, it's out of sequence with the verses, but we'll pick up the poetry, we'll pick up the verses in the next Mishnah again. But here we're going to break poetry. Hanoder mina ir mutar likanes. Someone who, Hanoder mina ir mutar likanes bitchuma. Someone who forswears benefit from a town. So I forswear, I'm not going to have any benefit from the town of, New York. Mutali kanes bitchuma. They can come into the town's border. That's a distance of 2,000 amot from the furthest suburbs. So they can come to the border 2,000 amot away. That's about a kilometer. Ve'asur kanes libura, but they can't actually enter its outskirts, its far suburbs. There's a limit. Aval, but hanoder min abayit asur min ha'agaf telifnim. If you vow not to benefit from a house, you're only forbidden from the doorstop and inwards. So in other words, the boundaries of a house are incredibly clearly defined. But the boundaries of a town, the boundaries of a town, well, you can enter the boundaries of a town, they don't really begin until you get right inside the town.